Hello everyone, and welcome to my presentation. This is the Zodiac Fresco at the Baths of Al Waleed at the Qasar Amar by Behrman. Today I will be discussing about the bathhouse itself a little bit, kind of going to the very basic history, where it's located, what year it's from, who it's for, and then I will be talking about the murals that are inside the building as we kind of move through the building towards the Zodiac Fresco. And those paintings can actually give us a little bit more insight of what we should be expecting for the different paintings, and kind of if they're inspired by anything specifically. After that, I'll get into a little bit more detail about the constellation map itself, the Zodiac Fresco, kind of where it's located, what different iconography can be seen, what can we define from this, if there's a message that's coming across, all this really interesting type of analogies. After that, I will be getting into a closer up vision of the constellation map and explaining a little bit about the constellations that were pointed out to us, or the ones that are kind of basically easy to figure it out just by looking at it at first glance. I then will be moving it into the same constellation map, but I will be talking about the other constellations that are appearing on the map that may have not been seen unless you're someone who really likes constellations or an astronomer. After that, I will be going into Zodiac for the Islamic world itself, kind of explaining how there's a difference between Western astrology and Islamic zodiac and in astrology. And then after that, I'll be talking about how religion and science are intertwined very closely and they go hand in hand. Qasar Mar is from the 8th century, located in eastern Jordan. When you go inside the bathhouse, you will see murals lining the halls from top to bottom. They're on the ceiling, they're on the walls, and they are very beautiful and they're full of color. They were painted for the Umayyad prince Alauddin Yazid in 743. The first painting I would like to talk about is a painting that's pretty big in size on the wall, which is the woman in the bath. This is a large woman who seems to be larger than the rest, and by iconography, there is a potential that this is the goddess Venus. So the goddess Venus is the goddess of love and beauty, and how I got that is right on the woman that I am tracing right here. On this necklace is a bunch of hearts. And of course, hearts in iconography is related to love. And then she also has lots of beautiful jewelry all over her body. And jewelry in the Islamic world is actually kind of relating to beauty. So, combining the iconography of love and jewelry equal beauty, together you get the goddess of Venus. Also, I get kind of Greco-Roman type of inspiration from the columns of her baths down here. Up next, we have the Six of Kings. The Six of Kings is a very interesting painting. It's 6 non-Muslim kings, and they could represent kingdoms coming together under one rule. It's a bit interesting. As you can tell, it's kind of worn out. It's been there through the eras and decades and centuries. One thing I do want to talk about, though, about this painting specifically is the color usage of blue. Blue in color theory is, related to depression and sadness and anxiety. So it kind of gives me this idea of the blue that is used in this building is relating to things that are no longer there or no longer with us. That's a kind of interesting idea to think about. There are plenty of other murals in the building itself. For example, there's a hunting scene, and then there's a fight scene between dark-skinned and light-skinned people. Unfortunately, I was not able to find photos of them, and we're not able to put the beautiful works into this presentation. Up next, we have the Zodiac Fresco itself, which is located in the farthest and hottest room at the baths. It's a really interesting painting. It's on a ceiling. It's a dome shape, and there's light coming in. So, yeah. Okay, so there's two different point of views, two different kind of positions. So, one thing I want to talk about the Zodiac Fresco is that the usage of the dome shape. Ceiling paintings are normally relating to the heavens, trying to get close to it as much as possible. Here, they actually have 4 little windows, which are cool, that actually have light coming in. Light is a way that archaeologists actually use to bring something to life. Light in Islamic is the use of divinity, it's divine lighting. It's the divine light of Muhammad, which is really interesting and super cool, especially with, zodiacs being related to nighttime and having the sun be in there with the light. An upper close version of this map is we kind of see it's not 100% fully there. It's been falling apart. Most of the fresco's not there, so it's kind of hard to see what was there originally. So what we have at first glance is you can see a couple things, but we have this little bugger right here. This is Ursa Minor, aka Little Bear. And next to that we have Ursa Major. Ursa Major translates to Great Bear, but a lot of people do call it Big Bear. Then down here we have the Archer, which is Sagittarius, and you can kind of see it's him through the centaur part of his body, and then his little arrow right here, and his bow with his arrow pulling out. Same image, but this time we have a couple more constellations attached. So going over what we just talked about, we have Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, Sagittarius, and then right next to Sagittarius is actually Orpheum, which is the serpent barrier. You can kind of see right here in his little hand, he has a little serpent, which is really cute. And then up here, we could have the potential Hercules. This map doesn't really correlate with the map that I have of constellations, which is a little interesting, and it's not, the way I want to phrase it is, I'm curious as to if this is how constellation maps were originally formed, or if this was just an artistic choice. So going up next to, we have Islamic zodiacs. So it's very brief. Islamic zodiacs are kind of different from Western astrology, Western zodiacs. So we're going to start with the basic facts. They have 12 zodiacs. I believe it is the 12 zodiacs of the Greco-Roman, aka Western zodiacs, so aka Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, all the others that I cannot remember at the top of my head. So, then Virgo. So we kind of have those here, and you can kind of see a little bit of the zodiacs. So right here we have one fish and two fish. So those that could potentially be Pisces, the duo fish. Then right here we have a little animal that looks like a bull, which could potentially be Taurus, the bull. So we do have this man right here. And this is kind of in a similar shape as Orion, the constellation. This could potentially be Orion to represent Orion's belt. Then here we have a heron. So the reason why I chose this image is because this is an astrolabe. The astrolabe kind of relates to the stars. It's how they mapped it. It's really cool. I would 100% go check them out. They're really pretty. They're very interesting to learn about how they're built. But I just have that here as a way of explaining zodiacs. So we have the 12 zodiacs, but they're different is they focus more on the planets. In Western astrology, we do have planets, we have placements, we have all that, but they focus more on the planets to the point where they humanize them. The sun is transformed into a male that is powerful, that is mighty. Though artists potentially don't paint a male sun, they paint a sun because that is a symbolism of light, energy. It's a symbolism of power, something that artists could use in non-religious and non-astrological paintings, something that everyone could use and still have a very powerful meaning. The moon in Islamic zodiacs and Islamic art astrology is personified, is changed into a woman, to a feminine being, which is kind of understandable, for in Western astrology, the moon is our emotions. It's how we feel, it's how we deal with emotions. And emotions are considered our divine feminine in ourselves. So they kind of do go hand in hand a little bit, and it's really interesting to learn about. And I absolutely adore it and I love it. So going next, we have Islamic religion intertwined with science. First thing first, God, also known as Allah, created everything. Everything that we have is created by Him, and He made it for a reason. That's a very basic understanding for everything they do. Starting with ceiling paintings. Ceiling paintings that were highly decorated with symbolism referring to the celestial sphere were more common than other types. So, you must be wondering, what is a celestial sphere? As I state right here on this slide, celestial sphere is a more modern view of the Earth being at the center with a large radius, which is kind of similar to our astrolabe right here. So the Earth, the Earth is this part of the astrolabe, and then here is the large radius. So that's one way to visually look at it. And it's originally a mathematical sphere. Astrolabes are mathematical devices. All celestial bodies are shown on the sphere, and people examine their movements recorded them the moment they touch the surface. Now, celestial bodies, that is God, that is Muhammad, that is going to be the constellations, the zodiacs. Those are celestial bodies, celestial beings. They're not of this realm, potentially. As I stated, all phenomena are created by Allah. The visions of His divinity, the study of nature, is the sign of the God hand. This phenomenons are also challenges for the believers to explore the universe in their studies to get closer to God. The more you explore the universe, the more you learn about it, the more you get into it, the closer you will be to God, because that is His realm, that is His creation. So it's an interesting way to look at it, and it's very intertwined, and it really goes hand in hand very seamlessly. It's a very amazing type of information to learn about, and I really enjoyed learning about it and understanding it and kind of agreeing with it. It makes sense. So to wrap this all up, ceiling paintings that are of the celestial sphere are there because they are connected to the heavens, the closer to God. Islamic zodiacs, using the planets as personified people, to a way to express emotions, to express masculinity and femininity. We have the Greco-Roman inspirations from evidence from the woman in the bath potentially being the goddess Venus, and using zodiacs from Greco-Roman and potentially Islamic zodiacs in a painting, and using divine light to really emphasize the importance of this, as well as realizing and remembering that Allah created all these things in the Islamic world, and that's what they believe in. Thank you so much for listening in on my presentation. I really appreciate it. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.